of vegetation that
significant. All these trees are 40 years old. This whole thing was planted in one go.
Kirsten, is this the eucalyptus arboretum?
No, the eucalyptus are gone from this plan. You can see they have actually put cul-de-sacs over the eucalyptus arboretum, fair enough. But where we're talking there on this map, you see right the little edge that goes towards the Tabernacle Pathway, where there's a little road through it. That's all part of the arboretum, unfortunately. So I think there might be still confusion even to this day.
what we've identified is what we consider to be the significant vegetation at this stage. Subject to, I mean, the CIT have to move off the site to vacate the site, and there's got to be a whole lot of survey work done on the vegetation. Through that process, we identify significant vegetation in terms of whether it's eucalyptus or exotic, and refine the planning for the CIT at that stage. So this is what we've identified at this time, but in terms of the CIT and all its vegetation, there'll be some refinement of that before anything further, any further development happens on that site. But I take your point, and I think that's we've made a note of that.
Well, I take from that plan that you will be steady Hill Street in that new suburb?
Hill Street, absolutely. So there'll be a roundabout here. So in terms of road connections, the original intention was to connect through directly into Weston through this location here, past the old corner store that's in Weston. Yep. So what we've done is we've disconnected that road so that it's not a direct through route. It does connect to Highston Street. This is a roundabout to allow for bus access into North Weston and then back along Dixon Drive and Warragamba.
Is that going to be the main access into that suburb?
It'll be one. There's one here, and then there's the existing one along at the intersection of Dixon Drive and Stretton Drive.
Can't hear anything at all.
So the question is, there's 3 entry points into this north part of North Weston. There's one here. Oh, so there's 4. There's this one here that's disconnected from the through route into the existing Weston. There's the existing connection off Street and Drive. And there's a 4th one, which is the signalised intersection of Potter Road. If you like, I'll just quickly give an overview and maybe take questions towards the end. Would that be fairly quickly?
Well, I think also if you just explain there is a more detailed plan, that some of the questions, the detailed questions people will ask, and they'll be able to see more clearly when you've got the large ones.
So this is just the overview plan. What we've got is some more detailed plans in the later slides. We can go into
We're not trying to rush.
more detail.
Paul's not trying to rush you through. To see the overview is probably helpful to the group, and then we'll go back piece by piece and go through it. So, good questions like Kirsten has, we will go through, and I'm sure the people need to answer those questions tonight. All right. So that's probably the best way to get through with the time we have this evening.
Thank you. The intention of this area here is for residential housing. The intention here is for around the Arana School, and I'll sort of spend a bit of time there, is that at the moment there's a road that comes off Unwin Place into the cul-de-sac here, and we've got a more detailed one on this later on, is to de-gazette that road, that public road that currently goes through the 2 campuses of Arana, and run that more to the west, and then around to connect with the existing cul-de-sac here, which provides access to the Baha'is and Sikh and other community facilities in that area. This area here would be retained for residential purposes, and up here, which is an area that is of some continuing conversation with the Minister over the last month, is that area there is identified as broadacre land use policy in the current territory plan and the current national capital plan. The original proposal was to identify that for residential purposes. Following discussions, the intention now is to not identify that for residential purposes, is to retain that retain its broadacre land use policy in that area there. In terms of, there was discussion regarding the buffers around the Sikh site as well as the Arana school. In further discussions, we've identified how we can get wider verges to allow for 2 and 3 rows of mature trees to be planted in the verges adjoining those sites in association with the plantings that are on these sites, existing sites in the Arana school, but also the Sikh and Bahai, is that we'd be looking at having much wider verges. There was also concern about having narrow streets and roads in North Weston. In this area of Weston, the average street width is about 18 metres, which means about 6 metres of verge, 6 metres of road, 6 metres of verge, and that allows tall trees to avoid all the services and allow for taller trees, mature trees to be planted, and a larger streetscape. In this area here, we've proposed that all these streets are a minimum 18 metres in road reservation, but around the Arana School, Bahai and Sikh, is that we'd have much wider verges on their side of the street to allow for double and triple rows of mature street trees to be planted to provide for that buffering. In terms of, just going further north, at the Defence Services College, this area here has been identified as an area where there's been some discussion with the Commonwealth for a land swap. Some people may recall there was some conversation with the Commonwealth with regards to the land in North Duffy off to the west, the far west. This is an area that we're negotiating with, the government's negotiating with the Defence Housing Authority to retain that land off to the west of Duffy for landscape and buffer purposes, which is the land just to the east of Eucambine Drive and just to the west of the Stromlo forestry settlement there. And that the swap is for this land here to be considered for defence housing purposes. This area here, this pond area here, has been identified. It's a major stormwater quality pond at the moment. Both Weston Creek and Woden Valley, all the stormwater that comes out of those two districts goes down Weston Creek and Yarralumla Creek, goes into the Molonglo River and down into the Murrumbidgee River, and then flows down out of the ACT. It has no water quality measures along those streams and river courses. This is the one that we've identified for Weston Creek. Not only is it a water quality pond, it's a large scale, and we've got some slides that will give you a feel for the scale of this. Is very large water feature for the district, but also provides an opportunity for major recreation and passive activities around this water feature. So it provides the water quality as well as open space and recreation. This is the major north-south road that goes through from Cotter Road through to Belconnen, and along it there is the Stromlo Forest Park as well as the Arboretum, which is this area here. What we're looking at now is in the forward design and sort of feasibility of the capital works that we're doing, is identifying how we can get very strong links between the two in terms of pedestrian, cycling and horse riding activities between the two. So we're looking at how you can go off-road, as in you don't need to have to cross a road, with a horse between here and here. So in terms of underpasses, they're being designed to be that much deeper and that much taller to allow for horse riding from Stromlo Forest Park, along Cotter Road, around this recreation and water quality feature here, using existing fords and into the Arboretum. And there's a couple of options to be able to do that. That's a bit of an overview. Bruce, you want to just go on to the next slide? This one's